What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be ranking upcoming UFC fights and some, fights that aren't booked yet but could potentially happen. So, to start off the list, let's go with the fight happening this weekend, O'Malley versus Dvalishvili 2. Um, with this fight, I'm thinking, this is decent. Even though I am excited for it, I think the fight is going to go differently this time. At the end of the day, it is a rematch of a fight we got very recently, and there's not a lot of contenders at bantamweight, to be honest. The only one is Corey, and people think Peter Yan should be getting the rematch over O'Malley. I think that's complete like retardation. I don't think that's true because Yan got like completely destroyed. At least O'Malley made it close. But, this is a good, decent fight, and I'm excited for it, and I think it's going to go differently. But, if you were making the tier list and you put it a little bit lower, I'd get it. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. But, next fight, Oliveira versus Topuria. I'm going to put this in very excited. I don't think it's a goated fight because, it would be nice if Islam was still in the division or Arman Sarukian was getting the title shot because I don't really think Charles Oliveira deserves it. But this is still a fucking amazing fight. I think it's closer than a lot of people are saying. A lot of people think Ilya is just gonna fucking slime Charles Oliveira out. That's not gonna happen, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be a pretty tough fight. I think I'll go with Ilya by like a fourth round TKO, but I think Charles is going to give him all he can handle. I think it will be a good fight. And if Topuria becomes double champ, that's crazy. And if Oliveira gets the belt back, that's also going to be crazy. So I'm putting this in very excited. I'm very excited for this fight. And it's a great matchup. So yeah. On to the next one. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. Um, I gotta put that in goated. That's a goated fight. Like any Islam fight really is goated. So yeah, and it's double champ status. Jack Della Maddalena is one of the best fighters in the UFC, one of the most entertaining fighters. I think he's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. I think this is Islam's toughest fight. I think this is a tougher matchup than the Topuria fight. So I gotta put this in goated fight, bro. This is like legacy. Whoever wins this, um, like their legacy is gonna be crazy. So this is an awesome matchup. I cannot wait. Probably my most anticipated matchup in the UFC so far. So yeah, gotta go in the goated tier. But let's see, what should I get next? All right, Gene Silva. Now I don't have a picture of a fight here because I don't know who he's fighting next, but I don't really care. I'm gonna be very excited for it. So Gene Silva's next fight is going in very excited tier. I'm hearing it could be Diego Lopez. I'm not a big fan of that because that means Yair and Lopez aren't gonna fight, and that would kind of suck. But I think it's going to be Arnold Allen. I think Gene Silva versus Arnold Allen would be an amazing fight. I think it'd be a very tough fight for Gene Silva because, Arnold Allen is one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. He's very well rounded. I think he could give Gene Silva some problems. So I think that'd be a good fight. But at this point, Gene Silva is just pure cinema. Like, you have to watch this guy fight. Um, if you're a new fan and you somehow stumbled on this video and you don't know who he is, watch his fights. This guy's like one of the most must-watch fighters in the UFC. So yeah, the title run of Gene Silva continuing is gonna be in the very excited tier. But on to the next one. Diego Lopez versus Yair Rodriguez. Now this is another one that's not officially booked yet, but I think this should be next, and I'm gonna put this in great fight. This is an amazing featherweight matchup. Both in the top five. Lopez just got pieced up by Volkanovski. Yair beat Pitbull. Um, wow, that's crazy, dude. You beat Pitbull. You know, but I think you know, What am I trying to say? Let me try and articulate my thoughts. Yeah, I think it's a good stylistic matchup, and obviously they've got fucking beef. They do not like each other. I don't know what it's about, really. I'm not too sure, but I know Coulon, like they don't like each other at all. So there's gonna be some bad blood in this matchup, and I think it'd be an awesome fight. So I gotta put that in great fight tier. On to the next one. Peter Yan versus Marcus McGee. This is going in what the fuck is this? Um, I don't really understand the thought process behind this matchmaking. Marcus McGee is a good fighter. I do like him. I'm a big fan of him. But to be honest, I just don't understand why they're doing this fight. Um, like Jan, I really think he should have fought Corey in a rematch. Um, maybe even like I don't know, just not Marcus McGee, dude. It just is ugly. It's like number 2 versus number 13 in the rankings. Marcus McGee just had a pretty lackluster win versus Jonathan Martinez, who's a good fighter, but like you're going from Jonathan Martinez to Peter Yan. Now I know Sean O'Malley went from what fucking Pedro Munoz to Peter Yan, so I get it. You could say, oh, this is the same thing, but I'm just not really excited for this. And I think McGee's got a pretty good shot at winning too, and I don't want to see Peter Yan lose. So I'm kind of dreading it a little bit because if Yan loses, I'm gonna be very sad. But it should be a fun fight. It's just very confusing matchmaking. I really think it should have been Yan versus Corey in a rematch. But yeah, that's what I think of this fight. It's in the what the fuck is this tier because that's what I said when I saw it. So on to the next one. Pereira versus Ankalaev 2. This is not official, but I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen in October in Abu Dhabi. I'm putting this in great fight tier. I think there's a lot of adjustments Alex can make to win the fight, but I also think Ankalaev is going to look even better. And these two are really each other's kryptonite, I think. I think they're both each other's toughest matchup. I could see Ankalaev having more problems with Yuri than with Alex. But Yuri's kind of like a weird one. He's such a weird fighter. I think he's a very tough matchup for everybody. So excluding Yuri, I think Pereira is easily Ankalaev's toughest matchup. That first fight, as much as a lot of people don't say it, it was very close. Alex could have won that fight. I don't think he did, but if you say he did, like, you know, I'm not gonna be mad at you. And I'm pretty sure I uploaded a video that said Alex beat him. Back at the time, I did think he beat him, but that was like, right after. Now that I've gone back and rewatched it a couple times, I think Ankalaev won, but it was a very close 48-47 decision. I think Pereira fought pretty bad. I don't think he looked good in that fight. He was backing up a lot, just spamming lead, low kicks, and after they weren't working for, I don't know, the first 3 rounds, like, you got to change something up. He landed some good head kicks in that fight. He did not throw enough jabs. I think Ankalaev was getting to close distance just for free. Like, Pereira was not throwing jabs. So I think there's a lot Pereira can do. And now that I know he can stuff Ankalaev's takedowns, I'm even more interested in the fight because that was what I was really worried about. So now that I know that's not going to be a problem, it makes it more interesting. And yeah, this is a great fight. I can't wait. So yeah, putting it in the great fight tier. Let's go with Evloev versus Pico for the next one. This is going straight into what the fuck is this? Because tell me why Aaron Pico is getting a UFC debut against who should be the number 1 contender. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid matchmaking. Mavzar should be next for the title. Mavzar versus Volkanovski and Jack Della versus Islam on the same card. Boom. Easy. Free money. They're going to be printing money with that. But they're not. They're not doing it. So I don't get it. Evloev versus Pico is dumb. I think Pico's good. I don't think he's going to beat Evloev. Like, I'd like to, see him fight somebody like Dan Ige, maybe Josh Emmett. Let's see, who else is there at featherweight? Like, I don't know, dude. Let me pull up the rankings real quick. Yeah, like Dan Ige, Josh Emmett, Calvin Cater, Yusuf Zalal, like anybody that's not the number one fucking contender would have been nice to see where he's at before he jumps into such a big fight. Because if Evloev beats him, it's like, cool, dude, you beat a guy in his debut. We don't know how good he is. But if he beats Evloev, it's like, damn, he's a great fighter, but they kind of fucked Evloev over. So it's just a lose-lose situation. I don't know why they made this fight, or they're making it. It's not official yet, but Mobzar basically said, like, yeah, thanks for not ducking me, Volkanovski, but they're going to make me fight. So I'll fight in July, you fight in September, and then we can fight after. So it's just all kind of silly, but let's move on to the next fight. Volkanovski versus Rodriguez 2. This is another potential one. I think you guys know where this is going. This is going in what the fuck is this? Terrible matchmaking. We don't need to see it again. Nobody wants to see this fight. Yair's win over Pitbull was not even that impressive, dude. Like, you can sue me. You can get angry that I'm saying that. You beat a 38-year-old fucking midget in his UFC debut who barely threw any punches. Good job, dude. And now you get a rematch with the guy who smoked you 2 years ago. It's just ludicrous. I really hope they don't do this. I would rather see Volkanovski fight fucking anybody else, dude. Just not Yair. Like, Yair needs to get like 3 more wins before he gets a rematch with Volk, dude. This is just a dumb fight. I think everybody's going to agree with me on this one. So let's move on to the next one. Gaethje versus Pimblett. This is another one that's not official, but it's what I think is going to happen. I'm putting this in meh, because that's honestly how I feel about it. I would much rather see Pimblett versus Arman. I think that's a much tougher fight for Pimblett, and I don't want to see him beat another like old veteran who's got pretty shit grappling. Like, this is just going to be an easy fight for Pimblett. If you're picking Gaethje to win this fight, you're nuts. It's not happening. Pimblett's going to take him down and choke him out in like 2 rounds. Um, it's just not interesting. And I don't want to see Patty keep getting these layups. Now, maybe I'm being a little bit silly saying it's a layup, but I truly do believe this is an easy fight for Pimblett. So that's why I'm not that interested. I'd like to see him have a tough fight against arguably the best lightweight on earth, Arman Tsarukyan. If he can get through that, imagine the hype with him fighting Charles or Ilya, whoever wins that fight. It'd be amazing. But in all likelihood, he's probably going to fight Justin Gaethje, submit him easily, and then get a title shot. I think it'd be a lot more interesting if he fought Arman. So that's why I'm putting this in the meh tier. So on to the next fight. We've got Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. I think this is an awesome fight. You know, it's a big jump or a big step down in competition for Costa. You're going from fighting Robert Whittaker and Sean Strickland to Roman Kopylov. I think it's going to be a very fun fight. I think it's going to be a war on the feet. And these guys are just really entertaining. And I want to see Costa get a win. I think he will win this fight. But at the same time, I think it's a tough fight for him. So I'm very excited about this one. And I think it's a perfect matchup for both of them. So, yeah, this is in the great fight tier. I'm extremely excited for this, and I can't wait. But on to the next one. This is another, rumored one. This is not official, but I got Izzy versus Strickland 2. I'm putting this in the meh tier because why do we need to see this again? Like, what's the point? I don't think anything is going to change, and I don't think it's going to be a fun fight. I think it's just kind of a boring matchup. Like, Strickland completely shut him down last time. I don't see anything going different, so it's just kind of useless. I don't know what they're doing with this. I really hope they don't make it, but I'm hearing that they will. So, Yeah, I mean, tell me in the comments. Do you guys want to see Izzy versus Strickland too? I don't think a lot of people will, but yeah, it's just not very interesting to me. But on to the next one, Hernandez versus Delidze. I'm gonna put this in decent. I would have liked to see Anthony Hernandez get a big jump up in competition from Brendan Allen. I would have liked to see him fight like Kaio or Jared Cannonier next. I think they're much harder fights for him. Roman Dolidze, he's a good grappler, so he could, get a submission. He could Paul Craig Max, but I don't see that happening. Um, and I just think it's about time that Anthony Hernandez gets a big step up. So this is not what I was hoping for him, but it's still a decent fight. So I'm putting it in the decent tier. But on to the next one, Lewis versus Teixeira. I'm gonna put this in the meh tier just because, like, Teixeira is gonna beat Derek Lewis. I think he's gonna finish him in the first round with a big knee to the body. But if that doesn't happen, he gets knocked out and we lose an interesting prospect. But if he wins, it's like, all right, dude, you beat Derek Lewis. So, um, it's just heavyweight is kind of dead these days. So I'm not really going to be that invested in a Tallis and Teixeira fight until he's fighting somebody in the top 5. So that's what I think about this fight. It's just kind of a meh fight. And to top it off, it's a fucking main event for some reason. So, yeah, I don't know why we're still giving Derek Lewis main events in 2025. He doesn't even want main events, dude. We know the fight is not going 5 rounds. It's probably not even going to go 3. So, why do we need to make it a main event? I don't know. But on to the next one. Which one am I going to pick? I got a lot of fights here. Volkanovski versus Evloev. I'm putting this in very excited. It's not official, obviously, but it's what I think should happen. I think Evloev is a pretty tough fight for Volkanovski, but I think Volkanovski's going to piece him up. But, yeah, this is like, if Volkanovski comes back from 2 KO losses in a row, he beats Diego Lopez, gets his belt back, and then he beats Movsar Evloev, that is going to be fucking crazy. And if Evloev can beat him, then, we've got a new champion. And I just think it's a great fight. And it's kind of sad to say, but these days you kind of get excited when somebody who deserves a title shot is actually getting it, because that seems to not be happening a lot anymore. So it's like, man, Evloev, #1 contender, he's actually getting a title shot. Let's go. So I hope this happens. And yeah, very excited here. Volkanovski's my GOAT, so I'd be picking him to win, obviously. And if he wins, dude, he's top 2. So on to the next fight, Royval versus Kopp. This is a great fight. I think it's a very exciting fight. Both good finishers. They're both good strikers. So I think it's gonna be a stand-up fight. And I think Kopp is gonna get a finish. I think even if he doesn't, it's gonna be an exciting fight. And I think depending on who wins, especially if Kopp wins, he should get a title shot. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about it. I'm just excited to see it because I think it's a good fight, dude. You look at Royval versus Kopp, you're like, damn, this is a sick flyweight fight. So I'm gonna put it in the great fight tier. On to the next one, Aspinall versus Gane. I'm putting this in the meh tier because we all know John Jones versus Aspinall is the fight, but John Jones is a gay pussy in a good way. Gay in a good way. It's not an insult, but John Jones is a gay pussy, and he's not going to fight Aspinall. He's ducking him. He's scared of him. He wakes up in cold sweats thinking of Tom Aspinall. So we're not going to get that fight, and it's a shame because Jones is the only guy who could possibly beat him. I think Tom is just going to take Gane down and submit him in a round, or he's going to sleep him on the feet. He might fuck around and knock Gane out. He can do anything he wants to him. So I'm not very excited for it, and it's just not the fight we should be getting. And it's not official, but this is probably what's going to happen. So I'm just putting this hypothetical here, and it's in the meh tier. It's not very interesting. On to the next one. I've got Umar Nurmagomedov's next fight. I don't know who it's going to be against, but I thought he actually did very well against Merab. He listen, he didn't beat Merab. Like, I don't think he beat him, but you could argue that he did. Now, I'm not saying he did, but I'm saying if you were to look me in the eyes and say, I think Umar Nurmagomedov beat Merab, I would say, okay. That's what I'd say to you. And I think Umar is gonna be a champion one day. He's actually an exciting fighter. He's got a good fight style. Um, and I think he's one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. I think he could easily beat Merab in a rematch with a couple adjustments. Um, and I'm just, like, I can't watch an Umar fight and not be very excited. So I gotta put it in very excited. I know not a lot of people like Umar, and like he has taken a long time off for a broken hand. So that's something. And it sounds like he's waiting to fight in October. That's just Dagestani things, dude. Can't do nothing about that. I don't really care at this point. Um, Umar Nurmagomedov fights, I'll be there. So yeah, that's how I feel about his next fight. I don't know who it's going to be against. Um, I'm kind of thinking Song Yadong. I think that'd be a good test for both guys. So I'd love to see that. But on to the next fight. Um, Dan Hooker versus Arman Tsarukyan. This is probably what's going to be next. It's not official, so we don't know. But I'm putting it here because I think it's what's going to happen. And I think it's an awesome fight. I'm going to move it down to great fight, okay? I'm not very excited. I'm excited about it. I think it's a great matchup. But I do kind of think Arman is going to, beat the brakes off him. Unfortunately, I love Dan Hooker, but this is just a tough matchup. You look at this kind of matchup. He struggles with these guys. But Arman is one of the best lightweights in the world. So is Dan Hooker. If they fight, it's going to be awesome. If Arman wins this, he gets a title shot. If Dan Hooker wins this, it's a huge fucking upset. He's going to get a title shot. Imagine Dan Hooker versus Charles Oliveira or Ilia Topuria for the title. Or maybe Dan Hooker versus Paddy Pimblett in a number one contender match. Pure cinema. So I'm putting this in great fight. Yeah, it's an awesome fight. Even though I'd like to see Paddy versus Arman, probably not going to happen. So I'm putting this here instead. So yeah, that's what I think about that matchup. But next, we got Usman versus Buckley. I'm putting this in great fight too. I think Buckley is going to put on a masterclass. I think he's going to beat the shit out of Usman. New welterweight prospect, Joaquin Buckley. That's what I think is going to happen. And I'm excited. We're getting new blood at welterweight, dude. Like, it's the most exciting division. There's so many prospects and young guys in the rankings. And more importantly, if Buckley wins this, dude, we could be getting Buck versus Cuck. So this is a great fight. And if Usman wins this, Unk still got it. It's this is good stuff, dude. I'm very excited. So I gotta put this in the great fight tier. On to the next one. We got Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. This is a goated fight. Goated fight. I think Dricus is the toughest matchup for Khamzat in the division. I think he's gonna win. If he beats Khamzat, that's a huge fucking statement. If Khamzat submits Dricus du Plessis, the middleweight division, you're done. Nobody's beating him. If he beats Dricus du Plessis, it's over. It's over in a good way. And in a Khamzat is getting 6 title defenses way. So the stakes on this fight are huge. Dricus is so close to becoming the middleweight GOAT if he wins this fight. And it's such an interesting matchup, dude. It's like I'm picking Dricus to win because I think he can survive on the ground with Hamzat for 2 rounds and start to beat him up as the fight goes on. I think his grappling is very good. Um, and it's but like I don't know that. It's like I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just, looking at the fight. That's what I think. But I don't fucking know, dude. Hamzat is so good. If he goes out there and he chokes Dricus out, I'm not gonna be surprised. So it's like you're gonna be on the edge of your seat watching this fight. Your hands are gonna be shaking. Um, this is just a sick matchup. So I gotta put it in the goated fight tier. But on to the next one. We've got Whitaker versus De Ritter. I'm very excited, but I'm also very scared because number one, I like both of these guys a lot, but Robert Whitaker is one of my favorite fighters. If he loses again, I'm going to be so fucking sad. And this is such a tough matchup, so I am scared, but it's a very fascinating matchup because Reiner De Ritter is like retarded, but he's good. At the same time, he's got amazing grappling. He's huge. He's a huge middleweight. He's very dangerous. He's got a lot of power. I can see him giving Rob issues in the clinch, landing good knees like he did against Bo Nickel. Rob's on a different level, okay? And I think Rob is going to be way too fast for him out in the open. He's going to be stinging him. I think Rob could get a finish in this matchup, but I also think he could get finished. It's just a very interesting fight. And if Whitaker wins this, he's back in the mix. If De Ritter wins this, give this dude a fucking title shot. Yeah, this is a great fight. Got to put it in the very excited tier. But on to the next one. We got Hill versus Roundtree. I'm putting this in the great fight tier. This is going to be a war. I'm going with Jamal Hill to win. I know that's an unpopular pick. You guys will see. Jamal Hill is going to knock Khalil Roundtree out in like round 3 or 4. I think a good knee up the middle. But, yeah, this is a sick fight, dude. I love both these guys. Both some of the most entertaining light heavyweights. I know Jamal Hill yaps a lot and he's got a big mouth. But just in terms of his fights, fucking awesome. He's one of my favorite light heavyweights, just one of my favorite fighters in general. So this is an awesome fight. I can't not look forward to a Jamal Hill fight. Same with Khalil Roundtree. If Khalil wins this, then he is really like elite. But I'm still not sold on him. I know he had a good fight versus Alex, but there's just some fights he's had in the past that make me think, maybe he's not at that level really. And he is kind of old. Khalil's 35, so I thought he was like still in his 20s, to be honest. But yeah, this is a sick fight, dude. It's gonna be pure violence, so I'm putting it in the great fight tier. Next fight, Poirier versus Holloway. Very excited, very scared too, because I don't want Max Holloway to get knocked out again, and I don't want to see Dustin Poirier lose. It's so sad. It's so sad that one of them has to lose. But at the same time, I think it's gonna be an awesome fight. The retirement is gonna be emotional. Um, you know, but it's like Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway, they're gonna fight again. How could you not be very excited for that? I know they fought twice, but it's like this is basically a rematch because their first fight was back in the Stone Ages. I was still in a fucking nutsack when they fought, so I don't look at this as a trilogy. I look at this as a rematch, and their second fight was pretty close, and Max had moments where he was almost finishing Poirier, and he was, muffin top Max. He was chubby. This time he's going to be properly bulked up. He's going to be at 155, which I think is his best weight class now. He's so much better. Go back and watch that fight. Watch Max's fights around that time period in general, and watch his Ilya Topuria fight where he gets fucking knocked out. He looks so much better. So I have to put this in very excited. This is going to be a great fight. Only thing I'm not a fan of is the BMF belt, but that's okay. It's alright. That's not a big deal. But on to the next one. We got Corey Sandhagen's next fight. Very excited. I think he's a bad matchup for Merab, dude. So if he fights Merab next, that's gonna be awesome. He might fight Sean O'Malley. Corey versus O'Malley, that's a sick fight. Um, yeah, dude. Corey Sandhagen, bro. Corey Nerdhagen. Beakers and test tubes. But he looked great in his last fight, and how can you not love Corey Sandhagen? I have to put in very excited. So I think he should fight the winner of O'Malley versus Merab too, because who else is there, bro? Like if Peter Yan beats fucking Marcus McGee, are we really gonna give him a title shot? That's why I think it should have been Corey versus Yan too, because that's like a real legacy fight. But that's not what we're getting. So I think you just give Corey a title shot, dude. It's been so long he hasn't got one. He had an interim title shot, but it's not the same. Corey Sandhagen has to fight for a belt in his career, dude. So let's make it happen. And I'm amped. I love Corey. On to the next one. We got Yuri's next fight. Goated fight, dude. It's Yuri. I don't care who he fucking fights. He can fight me. He can fight a taxi driver. He can fight the professional. It's Yuri Prohaska. Goated fight. Cinema. Most entertaining fighter in the UFC. Let's go for that. Let's go for that. Okay? But Pantoja versus Cara France. Where did I put that? Where'd it go? All right, right here. I'm gonna put it in great fight. I think Kai is gonna win, so I'm actually gonna put it in very excited because I think Kai is gonna win. That's like upping my entertainment value because I think it's gonna be an upset. I don't think people are really gonna pick it to happen. I think he's a bad matchup for Pantoja, and I think it's gonna be a fun fight. And Pantoja is fucking awesome. If he wins this fight, he is this close to like rivaling DJ's resume at flyweight. There's a lot to be excited about. So, yeah, gotta love this fight. Only got two more, or actually one more left. Pena versus Harrison. I'm gonna put this in great fight, dude. Like, all right, well, no, it just looks wrong having that above O'Malley versus Merab too. So I'm gonna put it next to it. But they've got beef, bro. They got beef. So, I'm sorry if I've been a little retarded this video. It's late at night and I'm kind of rambling, but that's why I make my videos, dude. I don't have anybody to talk to about MMA besides my mom because she likes it too. And so I like to ramble about stuff. I don't have anybody to talk to about these fights, bro. So getting on here, voicing my opinion on stuff, it's fun. I love to do it. I'm not really doing it for the views. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a good one.